Hello fellow sim racers. Today I'm taking a look at the excellent Thomson Road Grand Prix track mod for Assetto Corsa by Fat Alfie. This is Yas Marina, the home of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's got quite a lot of runoff, and at the end of all of that runoff, there's quite a few safety devices. Tech Pro barriers, tyre walls, and huge catch fencing. All things considered, it's probably the safest motor racing venue in the world. Thomson Road is exactly not like Yas Marina in any way whatsoever. .8 kilometres of fast, twisting public roads snake their way through the densely packed jungle. And there's nothing that you could possibly describe as a safety precaution. There's no runoff and very few barriers to speak of. In fact, the only thing standing between you and the trees is the occasional street lamp, post box, or an unlucky spectator. So perhaps it's not so surprising that there are sections of the track named the Murder Mile, Snakes, and the Devil's Bend. From a technical perspective, everything about this mod works as it should. The track drives excellently and looks great, but I think to talk exclusively about the technicalities of this mod would somewhat miss the point. What Thomson Road does well is capture the essence of a time and place, and arguably it's the attention to detail that's been paid to research that makes this mod special. Perhaps what I love most about the Thomson Road mod is that every item seems to have a real sense of place. All of the assets hang together perfectly and visually interact in a very convincing way. In my video about Fat Alfie's Feldbergring mod, I praised the careful use of colour, which I believe is a large contributing factor to the atmosphere exuded by the mod, and in my opinion Thomson Road is very much the same. However, while I was snooping around with the free roaming camera, I did find one amusing anachronism. This chap holding what looks suspiciously like an iPhone. I presume his DeLorean is parked just out of shot. Perhaps unsurprisingly, by the early 1970s, the Thomson Road circuit was considered to be a bit too dangerous, even by the standards of the day. But as I've said before, the beauty of racing simulators is that we can experience an approximation of venues that have been condemned to history, all from the safety of home. And even in simulated form, Thomson Road is pretty imposing. From the hump in the middle of the main straight that makes Flugplatz look like a putting green, to the numerous tree-lined high-speed corners, there's pretty much always something that's out to get you. And that does make this mod pretty exciting to drive. Fat Alfie has depicted the circuit as it looked in 1973, so this 1972 vintage Lola T290 feels like the perfect fit. The first landmark on the Murder Mile is this terrifying right-hander over a crest. You really do need to lift here in this car, or it goes very badly indeed. Steel brakes and slippery tyres mean that I have to brake very early for the tight circus hairpin. The curb on the inside is pretty steep and needs to be treated with caution, and the same goes for the curb at the exit. I like to take a late apex here, but really whatever line you take seems to be at little more than walking pace. Next up is a series of corners called the Snakes. Like the similarly named corners at Suzuka, getting the rhythm of these corners right is crucial, and getting offline will really cost you the entire way through the sequence. The last two corners open up a little and the trees almost seem to beckon you closer. Finally, we've made it through the Snakes, and next up is Devil's Bend. It doesn't look all that bad, but I can assure you if you miss your braking point you'll understand why. Again, I favour a late apex here, as the next section of the course is absolutely flat out. The first of this triplet of left-handers is flat, but the second is a braking zone for the final corner in the sequence. Don't drop a wheel on the grass like I did unless you're the sort of person that finds near-death experiences calming. Up next is Long Loop, which is a long loop. It's one of those frustrating corners that seems to just go on forever. Long Loop leads into Peak Bend, which oddly seems to be a valley, but by this part of the lap you're already thinking about the braking zone for range hairpin, a deceptively complex corner that some cars really don't like one bit. It's off camber and it gets worse near the apex. Find a line you like, wait for an eternity, and eventually you can get back on the power again. Now it's just a case of moving up through the gears, waving to the 2D spectators and starting the lap all over again. If you're interested in driving the Lola T290, it's part of the AC Legends pack by Bazza and Small Block Hero, and I've put a link to the download in the video description. When I reviewed the Feldbergring mod last month, I mentioned that I wasn't at all surprised by either the quality or the scope of the mod, and that's because of Thomson Road. I was reticent to review this mod for a while because I thought, surely everybody already knows how great it is, but apparently there are people out there that still haven't yet given it a go. So if you're in that category, there's a download link in the video description. It should be fairly obvious to anyone that's watched the video up until this point that I think this mod is a real peach. It's that killer combination of interesting subject matter and well executed mod work. But more than that, it's a circuit like no other in Assetto Corsa. Sure, you can make comparisons to some other tree-lined death traps disguised as racetracks, but this place feels pretty unique to me. And I think for that reason alone it deserves a place in every sim racer's track library. So that about wraps things up here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, it would be great if you could hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. If you've got any suggestions for content you'd like to see on the channel in future, then please let me know in the comments. As always, thank you for donating your precious free time by watching. It is very much appreciated. So all that's left to say is goodbye, thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.